Sup peeps, how's it all going? Lovely to see you all again after a little break. Today we're going to be looking at Seek and Destroy by Metallica. Let's take a look. Okay, let's have a look at the first section. This is when we're kind of looking at those sort of call and response shreds. So I'm going to start off with a slide into 15 of the second string, and I go to 12 of the first, and I've got to pull off from 15 to 12 on the first, so it'll go like this. Okay, after that pull off, I jump to 15 of the second, and then back down to 12 of the first. And that's kind of the first little chunk I do. So after that, I go into this. I'll do that whole idea twice. So what I'm doing nice and slow, so I'm doing a pull off from 15 to 12 on the first, and then 17 to 12 on the first. Okay? Then after that, back to that pull off on 15 again. So I go 15, 12, 17, 12, 15, 12. And at the end of that, I'm playing 15 of the second string, and then back down to 12 of the first. So it'll go. So all together. And that last group of 8 notes I did, we're going to do that exact same thing twice. So it'll go. So all together a little bit faster. And then at the end of that it'll go. So what I'm doing is adding an extra 12 on the first string, and then playing 15 of the second string as just a regular note. And back down to 12 of the first. And then doing that bend on 15 of the second string with a bit of vibrato. So I'm going to play the whole thing we've got thus far in chunks, and I'll put in some little breaks so you can hear it separately. Hopefully that makes sense, and then we've got goes into this. Some questionable notes here. Don't know why he's playing in B minor, but anyway. Let's start from 7 of the first string. I hit that twice, and then do a pull off from 10 to 7. And then I was jumping after that pull off to 10 of the second string. So I'll play that all again a little bit slower. Okay, then after that I go into this. So what I'm doing here is playing 7 of the first string, and then I play 10 twice on the second string and pull off to the 7th, so it'll go. After that, I'm going to 9 of the third. So on this newest chunk, this is what we should have so far. Okay, and then the last bit goes. So what I'm doing here is playing 7 of the third string, then going to 9 of the fourth, then back down to 7 of the third. Then I do a bend up and back from 9 of the third string, and then when I bring it back down, I'll pull off, so it'll go. At the end of that phrase, I'm just playing 9 of the fourth string, so it'll go. So the whole thing from the start of this section a little slower. Okay, let's take a look at the second section. This is pretty silly. There's some gross notes and some really questionable chromaticism. Anyway, we'll work through it together. We're going to start off with a big bend on 17 of the first. And then I go to 15 of the second string and go. Very odd. I'm playing 15 of the second, and then playing 16, 15, 14 on the first string. So all together a little slower. Okay, then from there I jump to 15 of the second string and I go 15, 14, 12. So thus far. Then I jump to 12 of the third. Then I've got this weird kind of bend with a bit of vibrato, with a bit of grossness to it. That's the kind of idea, kind of get that weird sound to it. So all together. Okay, then what I do here, I've sort of got 7 kind of angry triplets, and the last one is going to have something a little bit more melodic and sensical. But the start of that, I'm starting roughly from 17, and then I'm playing, we'll say 22 actually. I just start from a random place, we'll say 22, and I do this gap, which is 22, 21, 19, and I just bring that chromatically back till I've done 7 triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the 7th one, I'm going to be playing this. Now these are the notes that count. The rest of the stuff you have before is a little bit of gibberish. So what I want to do here is I'm going to be playing 10, 9, 7 on the first string, and then playing 10, 8 on the second. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on that 7th group, we've got those 5 notes. So thus far, this is what we should have. A little bit slower. Then it goes into this part. So let's slow this down. So what I'm doing here is a bend up and back on 9 of the 3rd string, and then I pull off to the 7. Then from that pull off, I want to hit that 7 as a normal note, so I'm picking that after the pull off. Then I go back to 9. Then I go. So what I was doing there was bending 9 up and then playing it on the way down. And then playing 7, 9 again. So I'll do that all a little bit slower. Okay, there's one little bit at the end, it'll go nice and simple. I'm playing 9, 7 on the 3rd, 9 of the 4th, and then resolving that with a vibrato note on 7 of the 3rd. So it'll go. Alright, let's try and put the whole section together from the start. Section's kind of around a B minor pentatonic, except we don't have a 7-10 interval at the top of the 7-9, so it's kind of a little bit easier. I'll go through that first little phrase. Let's slow that down. So what I've got at the start of that is 2 hammer-ons in a row. I'm playing 7-9 on the 6th and 7-9 on the 5th. Both hammer-ons, and then I go. So what I'm doing here that's slightly different phrase-wise is I'm playing both the 7 and the 9 on the 4th string, and then as soon as I hit that 9, I pull off back to the 7 and then go to 9 of the 5th. So altogether thus far, then I go into this, which is just playing 7-9 on the 4th, and then 7-9 on the 3rd. So the whole thing thus far, then at the end of that I go. So what I'm doing here is a bend from 9 up and back into a pull off to 7 on the 3rd string. And then I just want to play 9, 7 on the 3rd as just regular notes. So I go. So the whole thing thus far a little slower. Hopefully that's all making sense, and then I go into this part. Okay, let's slow that down. So I'm playing 9 of the 4th, and then playing 7, 9 on the 3rd. Then I hit the 9 again and bend that. Okay, from there I go into this. So I want to play 7 of the 2nd string, and then do a pull off from 10 to 7. After I've done that pull off, I'm just going to work my way down that pentatonic a few notes. So it'll go. So after I've done the pull off, I just want to pick 9, 7 on the 3rd, and then 9 of the 4th. So, just from the second half of this phrase, let's try the whole thing thus far, and then we've got one more little bit at the end. Okay, the last bit goes. So what I'm doing here, I'm playing 7, 9 as just regular notes, and then I hit 9 again and bend it. Then I bring it back down and pull off to the 7. Then I do a slight bendy vibrato thing, and then I just slide it off from 9 of the 3rd. Not to anywhere specific, we'll call it Oblivion. And that's the whole phrase. So let's try all of that section a little slower. Okay, let's start from 12 of the 2nd string. I want to play that as a leading in note. And then we're going to work into this phrase 3 times. So what I've got there is a bend on 15 of the 2nd string, and then I jump down to 12 of the 1st. And then after that, I've got to pull off from 15 to 12 on the 2nd. So it'll go. As I said, we're going to play that 3 times in a row. Let's do that again, but I want to have a leading note from 12 of the 2nd. So it's going to go. At the end of that phrase, it goes. So what I'm doing here is playing a 15 bend on the 2nd and then 12 of the 1st, and I'm going to do that twice. So the whole thing thus far a little slower. And I work through this. So what I'm doing there is just your basic E minor pentatonic with a bit of triplet action. So we're going to work through it in groups of 6. I want to start the first group of 6 from 15 to 12 as a pull off on the 1st string. I'm going to pick the rest of the notes of this little phrase. I'm going to play 15, 12 on the 2nd string, picking both notes. Then 14 of the 3rd, back down to 12 of the 2nd. So we'll go. Then after that, from the 2nd string, I'm going to do a similar idea with 6 notes. I'm going to do a pull off from 15 to 12 there. And then I pluck 14, 12 on the 3rd. And then 14 of the 4th, back down to 12 of the 3rd. So we go. Now the last one just goes straight down, so it's just a straight descent. So what I've got here is a pull off from 14 to 12 on the 3rd. Then I'm going to pluck 14, 12 on the 4th. And then to resolve it, I want to play 14, 12, 10 on the 5th. So we'll go. Let's try the whole section a little slower. This final section is going to be based around an E minor pentatonic with a lot of triplet ideas. So we're just still hanging out over here and working with triplets. We're going to have a leading note from 12 of the 5th, and then we're just going to work into this. So let's go through that slowly. The first triplet that I had was 14, 12, 14 on the 5th, and then 12 of the 4th, 14 of the 5th, 12 of the 4th, and then a very similar idea to those triplets down the string. So what I'm going to do here is play 14, 12, 14 on the 4th, and then 12 of the 3rd, 14 of the 4th, 12 of the 3rd. So it'll go. Okay, and the next one goes. That's exactly the same thing again, but from the 3rd string. So I'm going 14, 12, 14 on the 3rd, 12 of the 2nd, 14 of the 3rd, 12 of the 2nd. So all together. And the last one, it changes up a little bit. Obviously, when the B string gets involved, the box shape changes. So what I've got here is 15, 12, 15 on the 2nd, and then 12 of the 1st, 15 of the 2nd, 12 of the 1st. All together. Okay, we're going to quickly borrow the 6 notes that we had in the last phrase. That was a pull off from 15 to 12 on the 1st, and then I was plucking 15, 12 on the 2nd, 14 of the 3rd, and then 12 of the 2nd again. So exactly the same as what we had. And then the last bit goes. So all I've got there for the last 4 notes was a pull off from 15 to 12 on the 2nd, and then playing 14 to 12 on the 3rd. So I'll go. And that's it. That's the Seek and Destroy solo. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'll catch you real soon.